Luke's very first days after defeating the Empire at Endor have him save Wedge, 2 systems, and plan the new Jedi Order. And it all starts less than 24 hours after Palpatine tries to kill him. The day after Endor isn't a victory lap. The important thing to remember about Luke after Endor, at least in Legends, is that there's no pause for him. The Battle of Endor ends, the Emperor is dead, Vader is gone, and the next day Luke is still physically recovering from Palpatine's Force lightning when he's pulled straight back into a crisis. Wedge Antilles intercepts a strange message droid that's threatening to self-destruct, and Luke steps in to prevent it from killing Wedge or itself. That droid turns out to be carrying a distress call from Bakura, an outpost world under immediate attack. So before the celebrations have even settled, Luke is already making command decisions. He organises and leads an alliance mission to Bakura. The Imperials are getting desperate already with the loss of command, and this is where things get genuinely strange. Bakura and the Ssi-ruuk. When Luke arrives at Bakura, he runs into one of the oddest threats Star Wars has ever produced, the Ssi-ruuk. They're a saurian species from the unknown regions who operate an empire called the Ssi-ruuk Imperium, and they power their technology through something called entechment. Entechment isn't metaphorical. The Ssi-ruuk extract the life energy of sentient beings and use it as fuel. They are literally consuming other beings to keep their machines running. Their society is rigidly compartmentalized, built on a caste system tied to skin colour and reinforced by strict religious rules. Most Ssi-ruuk never even leave their home cluster, partly because they fear dying on unconsecrated worlds, which is why the wider galaxy barely knows they exist at all. They also are extremely prejudiced against any species that is not their own. They are essentially racist space dinosaurs that take your soul. I can see how they've never made it to canon, and Luke walks straight into the middle of this battle, fighting alongside the Empire. One of the most interesting dynamics on Bakura is that Luke and Leia Organa negotiate a temporary truce between the Rebel and Imperial forces. The Empire is still very much alive at this point, and the wounds of the Galactic Civil War are fresh, but survival comes first. This isn't symbolic cooperation, it's practical, tense and fragile, and Luke has to navigate it. Luke, the same man that according to Imperials is the reason they no longer have a leader. Luke, the same rebel who walked into a room with Vader and the Emperor and was the only one to come out alive. During this mission, Luke meets Gariel Captason, a young Bakuran senator. They develop a mutual attraction, but it never turns into anything lasting. Once the battle is over, they part ways. Luke's situation on Bakura deteriorates fast. To no one's surprise, the Imperial governor, Willek Nereus, betrays him and infects him with Olabrian trichoid parasites, which steadily weaken him. Not long after that, Luke is captured by the Ssi-ruuk themselves. The Ssi-ruuk want to manipulate Luke and use him and his power to help them take more systems and life forms to power their machines. This is important context for what happens next, because Luke isn't operating from a place of strength. He's injured, poisoned, and captured by a species that literally turns people into batteries. And this is where Dev Sibwarra enters the story. By the way, if this type of Star Wars deep dive is your thing, that's basically all we do here, so you might want to stick around. Dev Sibwarra and the Turning Point. Dev Sibwarra is a Force-sensitive human serving the Ssi-ruuk. He was born on Chandrila, and his mother, Idra, had been a Padawan who left the Jedi Order before completing her training. Because of that choice, she survived Order 66. His family is captured by the Ssi-ruuk, and his parents are killed. Because of this, Dev grows up shaped by manipulation and abuse from the Ssi-ruuk. He begins to see them as his real family, and he does their bidding. This is how the Ssi-ruuk recognised that same power in Luke Skywalker. Luke recognises what's happening to Dev, not emotionally but structurally. He sees the damage control, the isolation, the way authority has been used to warp Dev's sense of self. He heals Dev's mind, who comes to his senses and understands what the Ssi-ruuk have done to him. The Ssi-ruuk attempt to entech Luke, but Dev defeats them and frees Luke. With Dev's help, Luke escapes captivity, disables the Ssi-ruuk ship, and turns the tide of the battle. The Ssi-ruuk, terrified of dying on an unconsecrated world, go into full retreat. The invasion of Bakura is stopped. Luke sensed Dev's potential to become a member of his new Jedi Order. However, Dev was fatally wounded when they were bombarded by the Imperial cruiser Dominant. Despite medical treatment on board the Millennium Falcon, Sibwarra died due to the severe nature of his wounds. Luke walks away from this encounter, convinced of something fundamental. Palpatine and Vader's purge was not absolute. If Dev exists, then others like him exist too. The first spark of a new Jedi Order. This is the moment where Luke's future becomes clear for him. The idea of rebuilding the Jedi doesn't begin from years of experience or deep thought. It begins when he has a first-hand encounter that more people like him are out there, others that could use help. Dev Sibwarra proves that the Force-sensitive survived. Some escaped Order 66, others were born afterward, completely outside Imperial awareness. Luke realises that this is something worth acting on, and the first seeds of his new Jedi Order are sown the day after Endor. After the battle, Luke dictates the terms of surrender to Willick Nerius, ensuring that the Bakurans have the freedom to choose their own governing authority. No breaks, straight to Rogue Squadron. After returning from Bakura, Luke doesn't slow down. He takes the understrength Rogue Squadron to Corellia on what's supposed to be a combined vacation and scouting mission. Corellia turns out to be almost free of Imperial occupation, which is promising, until Coronet City comes under attack by General Weir and his forces while Luke and the rogues are sitting in a tap cafe. What follows is messy and immediate. Stormtroopers move in, the rogues fight back, and Luke uses his abilities in practical, protective ways. He deflects blaster fire to keep the pilots alive, and even uses the Force to prevent an AT-ST from falling over long enough for Tycho Kelchu and Ten Num to escape. Ten Num is eventually captured, and Luke gives chase, but the Imperials escape off-world. With the help of Tycho and their astromechs, the rogues launch in pursuit. They're delayed by a diversionary TIE fighter attack on a civilian convoy, which Luke doesn't ignore. They protect the civilians and then track the Imperials to Tralus, where they discover a hidden underground base. A firefight breaks out, and General Weir flees in a TIE fighter. Luke and Wedge Antilles commandeer TIEs of their own and go after him. During this pursuit, Wedge Antilles uncovers the truth about Ten Num. He's already dead, tortured and killed by Weir. Luke and Wedge shoot Weir down and take him prisoner, bringing him back to the Alliance. Not long after that, Luke takes an important personal step. He turns responsibility of Rogue Squadron over to Wedge. He does this so that he can focus on building the new Jedi Order, one of the busiest weeks in the galaxy. When you lay all of this out chronologically, it's hard not to be in awe of what Luke managed to achieve. Luke redeems Vader and defeats the Emperor. The next day, he saves Wedge, leads a mission against a space dinosaur alien empire, negotiates with the Empire, survives betrayal, captivity and parasites, discovers proof that other Force sensitives exist, and plants the seed for a new Jedi Order. Then he fights 2 more battles, loses a friend, captures an Imperial general, and formally steps back from leading Rogue Squadron. All of that happens in what amounts to a single week. That has to be one of the busiest weeks anyone has had in Star Wars. I want to know what your opinion is on the space dinosaurs. Would you like to see them in canon, or keep them in Legends where they belong? If you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe and let's uncover the galaxy's greatest secrets together. Thanks for watching.